years ago, there was a lady called Donna Richards, and she booked out of Portland. And she booked a volcano room, and it was in a hotel, and it was in some part of Oregon, but it's on the other side, opposite Portland, real close there. So this Spokane and another city is all you have for civilization.
Yeah.
So they called it the Tri-Cities. My God, when I moved to, right before I moved to LA, I met a girl at that volcano room on a Friday night. We swapped a little spit. Then she came back with her girlfriends on a Saturday night. We swapped a little spit. I was a gentleman. I think we took it out. I ate a monkey, but no sex. There was no condom. And I go back to Seattle, and the phone won't stop ringing. It's this broad, and she's really pretty. I mean, the girl was a fucking knockout and really sweet. And one day, 4th of July, she drove up from wherever she lived, 3 hours away, and me, her, Josh Wolf, and Malia, Josh's kid's mother, had like a 4th of July party. And they're like, what a nice girl. And I'm like, okay. And something was wrong with me. I had seen this girl like 8 times, and I never went for the monkey. Like, she was that hot.
Yeah.
We had swapped spit. We had gotten hot and sticky from time to time, but we never really did anything. And one night we're on the phone having a conversation, and I go, yeah, next week I got to go to San Francisco. And she goes, well, what do you think if I drive you? And I go, that's okay. You want to drive? And I'm like, oh my God, she wants to drive me. I had to rent a car.
Yeah.
She's saving me $400 fucking bucks. I go, if you want to drive, and I didn't think like I think now, or like you think when you're 40. I think, well, I was 30. It's a ride. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. You know, I enjoyed that. Sure enough, she shows up on time, cooler, sandwiches, sundress, looking like a goddess. And as we're driving to San Francisco, at one point, something comes up about a blowjob, and she looks me straight in the face. And she goes, you know, I'm really good at those, you know. Mm-hmm. And I go, all right, when we get to the hotel, we'll see. So
I'll be the judge of that.
It's a Monday night open mic at the Punch. No, Sunday night was the Punchlines, and Monday nights was Cobb's, when that scumbag was up there. And he would make you sign your name on a list, and he wouldn't tell you what time you go up. And then he'd just come up to you and tap you on the shoulder. You know how many comics flew into that open mic and he didn't put up?
No.
Even though he told you on the phone he was
Who was
put
this?
you up. He quit. He was an old guy that ran Cobb's, real prick. And he was the one that told Ralphie, why did Joe take Ari and me on the road, that we were worthless. And we used to bust Joe's balls, and he had a crush on Joe. Because one day Duncan and Ari went downstairs to do radio with Joe, and that guy purposely brought a 2-seater. And he told Ari and Duncan he couldn't go. So Ralphie told me the story. I told Joe. Joe was like, come on, the guy wouldn't say that. I always knew the guy was a closet fag, for starters. So for months, every time we go to Cobb's, I tell him, how's your friend, Joe? I would just torment Joe. Joe, you know he wants to suck your dick. Like when he would come up, I go, Joe, you want me to stay? Like I would just, you know, like
Joe, you want me to stay?
Yeah, you want me to stay? I don't know what's going on between you two. And Joe was, hey, he's not gay. I go, Doug, trust me. I know, but that dude was a scumbag, and he used to run an open mic on Mondays before Cobb's burned down, because they Jewish Lightning, the first one.
Really?
The first one used to be down the corner in a warehouse by the chocolate.
Oh, really?
Guadalajara Square.
Guadalajara Square. What is it? No, what's the name of it?
The chocolate place.
Yeah, what's it? Ghirardelli. Guadalajara Square.
I've been watching too much Narcos. And then up the fucking corner. Now it's up the corner. But they tried to light it on fire, whoever owns it, to try to get Jewish Lightning, and they moved.
Yeah.
But it was then. And then the guy at the Punchline, his name is on the tip of my tongue. He also told me on the phone, when you tell a young comic, you're going to put him up on the open mic, and you have a reference, Bert Kreischer. Oh, I love Bert. Yeah, Bert called. Come down Sunday night. I'll never forget him, too.
Yeah. You
would get there and say, what do I sign up? And he goes, there's no list. I'll put you up when I want to. And he turns his back on you and walk away. And you just stand there. You just stand there all fucking night. And he'd come up to you at one point and go, you're up next. I said, I'd give you 6, do 3. And you're like, I got a fucking hotel room for $40 that I had to beg and borrow for. Almost had to blow a guy. And fucking, you want to give me $3? I mean, that's what those two clubs were notorious for that.
That's fucking ridiculous.
So I said something to that guy. Like, you know me, I was crazy. And I had to say something to him. Like, hey, man, who the fuck do you think you are to pick us? You know, like, we don't have it hard enough. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. And I left. And then I saw him a year later at the Laugh Factory at the Monday Night Showcase. I was showcasing. And he was there with a bunch of, in those days, San Francisco would come down, 6 guys, and they would set up a showcase with Jamie Masada. And Jamie would decide who would make it. And then kids from Portland would come down.
Yeah.
I caught him at a San Francisco one. And he was bitching in the back that they wouldn't put his guys on. And I'll never forget walking up to him going, remember me, motherfucker? Did you see that 20?
Yeah.
And here you are sweating like a fucking pig. Don't feel good, does it? And he just fucking beamed at me, and I never saw him. I met you in 98.
No, after that. No, I wasn't even out here then.
When did you start comedy?
02.
02 is when you started.
Yeah.
And when did Rogan go on the tour that you opened for?
07.
That man tour.
Yep.
And you were already in Ohio.
No, I was out here. I was living out here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I opened for him on that, and then I really fucking I met you the night before he shot a special in Columbus, because I remember he invited me out, Ari, and then he was like, "Oh, Diaz couldn't make it, so Diaz is coming on another flight." Diaz walks into the hotel in his tracksuit. He was like, "Dog, I gotta tell you something. This fucking asshole on the flight." He's like, "I almost got arrested today." And he fucking said that he was on a flight and that it was first class and they put his food down and the guy in front of him leaned back. So Joey shoved his seat. and the guy leaned back again. He goes, "Hey, like, you're fucking leaning on my food, man." So the guy did it again. So Joey stood up and went around and stood above the guy. And the guy was like, "Hey man, I'm just like leaning back." He goes, "You're leaning back on my food." And the guy like went to adjust or like stand up, and Joey put his hand on his shoulder and was like, you don't gotta do nothing right now. Just sit straight. And then when you got off the flight, you said there was 2 Columbus PD officers on the jet bridge, and they were like, "Jose Diaz," and you're like, "I got this weed under my nuts."
I did. You really fucking did.
And then, and this is, by the way, this is me meeting him. I don't know anything about him. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then you said you just were like very polite, like, "Oh yeah, no, the guy, this and that." You kind of talked them down, and they were like, "All right, good to go." Got off. You're like, "This guy was a total fucking."
You have a memory and a half.
I do.
That was exactly how it went down. And here's the crazy thing: like, he kept doing it to me. Like, after I said to him, your chair is broken. His chair was broken to start off with.
Okay.
So now when he would lean back, I really opened up as a gentleman. He was an LA cunt. Mm-hmm. He was like a set designer. He had that smell to him as a casting director.
Yeah.
Or an agency at a boutique agent.
Yeah.
He was one of those scumbags.
Yeah, those are the worst.
And he looked at me like, and when I put my hand on his shoulder, again, he's one of those faggy people that yelled assault.
Yeah.
So when I sat down,
he's like, "You assaulted
he got
me."
up and went to the stewardess. And now the stewardess is giving me the Malouk eye. All the stewardesses give me the fucking Malouk eye. And I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And in those days, I had my sleep apnea bag. And at this time, I was getting in trouble at airports every other week. Every other week, I was having a beef at an airport.
Really?
Between the cocaine and my attitude, and it was just a bunch of things that attributed to it. And I remember when we got off the plane, the cops were waiting for me, and I'm stinking a reefer. Because after 3 hours, even with the anti-stink bag, the shit would leak out. Those anti-stink bags you could buy, they really do sell them. I'm not kidding you people. They sell them down in Hollywood where they wouldn't stink. But after 2 hours, the weed was so pungent that you could smell it on your body. And the 2 cops stopped me, and the faggy guy was standing there going, "You should put him in jail," and all this. And I'm like, I didn't do nothing to go to jail. I tried to be a man and explain something to you right in front of the cops. I'm like, but you were too much of a cunt, an LA cunt. And the cops kind of like, oh. I get what's going on. I go,
Yeah.
these guys are fucking.
Because they're blue collar guys.
So
you know?
he walked away.
Yeah.
And they held me there, so we couldn't be at the luggage together, and that was it. But there's a God. See, after these motherfuckers, I don't know whether he sent his son to kill Jesus. I don't know whether he's Chinese. I don't know whether he's a Buddha. I don't know if he's a Hindu. There's a God. Guess what happened a year later? I saw that same bitch across going to Columbus on a Friday with me.
Are you serious?
And I just eyeballed him, and he made eye contact and tried to change the eye contact. And one time I went up to the bathroom, and what I did this time was win over the stewardess first. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I went up and gave her a compliment. I love your shoes.
Yeah.
You know, if she's black, I'm ripping down the Beyonce poster. They go bananas. And then when I came on the way back, oh yeah, I tell them when they're black, I go, listen, when I get home, I'm ripping the Beyonce poster down. They go fucking bananas. I go fucking bananas. So
That's quite a line.
come on, dog. It always gets them. It gets that pussy. They go fucking bananas. They go nuts. They want to show you their titties like National Geographic. You know, that's how they got those fucking poor African women to show you their titties on National Geographic. So on the walk back, I said, "Hey, remember me?" And dog, he lost all the color in his face. There was no more stewardess. There was no Columbus cops. So I just sat like he was in row 3A, and I was like in 4B. So for 2 hours, I just tapped my hand and stared at him. And every time he would look at me, I was eyeballing him, giving him 2 Maluk eyes. It was tremendous. He got off that plane and ran.
I bet.
He ran off that fucking plane, and I giggled all the way to whatever, because there's a God in the fucking sky, you dumb fuck. You fucking dummy acting that way. I was a gentleman. A couple weeks earlier, I'm going to Newark. I always take an aisle seat. Man, I don't say a word to nobody on the plane. You know I don't talk to nobody on the plane. I don't start it. I don't ask them where the weather, nothing. I sat next to Barkley last year. The whole flight. I didn't say nothing to him until we got off.
What you say?
I loved you at Philadelphia. That's it. We walked off the plane. One time it was me, Sebastian, and John Legend sitting right next to each other. I don't talk to nobody. I don't need to talk. I don't need to take a picture with nobody. I need to do nothing. I get in my fucking seat. This is not first class. This is United, LAX to Newark. I'm sitting there. The plane lands. The plane's about to land, and I take my phone out. And I turn the phone on. And the guy in the window seat says, and I look at him and he goes, turn the phone off. A German guy. There's 2 German guys sitting next to me. They were fucking, whatever the fuck language they talk. Nazi hate, Jew haters, whatever the fuck they are. And they're both sitting there fucking hocking each other to death, fucking hee-ho and whatever the fuck they do with their hands and shit. So finally, can you believe this? He goes, not even excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, we might get in trouble. He goes, turn the phone off. And I go, what? And he goes, turn the phone off. And the guy in the middle goes, did you not hear him? Turn the phone off. I go, bro, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? I go, don't ever fucking tell me to do anything. Go fuck you and fuck him. And they're both going, wait till we get off the plane. We'll see. I go, well, we'll fucking see. And the stewardess is like, is there a problem? And I go, this fucking hump tried to tell me to turn the fucking phone off. And she said, control your language and all this. I go, no. I'm not controlling my language. Don't ever fucking tell somebody. Don't you ask them. And the guy kept talking. And finally I go, what if I got up and just kicked you against that fucking door right now? Because you're in the last seat. I wouldn't be saying a word if I was you. Because if I start swinging, I could be a fucking madman. Why are you talking if you're in the 3rd seat in the fucking aisle? All I see you is holding your hands up and me stomping on you. That's all I see. You got a no-win situation. You could be Johnny MMA. I get the first drop on you. That leg weighs 265. Once it goes into you, I'm going to keep putting my leg into you and kicking you and your fucking Hitler buddy here. So the fucking stewardess comes, separates us, because I told him.
How long ago was this?
This had to be.
Last week.
No. around that time. This was like an incident I kept having. The Sopranos was hotter than hell at that time. So I was having different fucking incidents every other fucking week. Some of them were good. Some of them were people busting my balls about the Soprano, that you were the guy, take
Big
a
puss,
picture.
yeah.
It was just like an ongoing. So now they separate us on the plane because I told the guy, what if I started kicking you right now? What are you going to do? Are you retarded? You can't be that fucking stupid talking all that shit in the fucking third seat. I wouldn't say a word. I'd wait till I get in the hallway where I got an even chance. But that's how stupid you are. So the stewardess comes over. She gets me up, and sure enough, you got to sit here until the police have been notified.
What?
God damn it. So now I'm aggravated because my friend, in those days, we had no dough. You had to have your friend circle like a fucking strutz around the airport. So I'm like, my friend's waiting for me. They go, no, you're the last guy to board. You're unboarding with the pilot. So we get up, and I forgot. I'm in New Jersey. So as soon as I see the cops, all I got to do is get to them first. All I got to do is get to that cop first and let him hear me. So that's exactly what I did. I went right up to the cop, and I go, this fucking guy. The cop's like, what's the problem here? This fucking guy tried to tell me to turn the phone off, and the guy started with his fucking white shit. Well, the phone is not supposed to be turned on. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, first of all, you're the fucking away team, motherfucker. Once I said that, it was on. I go, you're the away team. You got no say in this. This is Jersey. You don't tell somebody from Jersey to turn the fucking phone off. Fuck this guy. Fuck him. Don't ever fucking talk to somebody like that. And the cops were like, he's got you there.
Yeah.
So the one cop walked them, and the one cop walked with me, and I just kept saying shit. Remember, you're the away team, motherfucker. Don't ever forget that shit. We got you. I can make these guys turn you in and rape you to death. You're missing right now. You're missing. This could be like Pulp Fiction at the end when you call the two hillbillies to fucking in. This is Jersey. These two cops could take you on a long ride, and you'll never come back. We saw them evacuating the plane in Newark, and that's it.
That's it.
We don't know nothing. No, seriously. I had a bunch of incidents. I forget how many incidents.
Seriously?
One time I'm fucking walking on a Newark airport with a bag of reefer, and there's 10 cops coming at me with those dogs.
Oh, shit.
And I had to go into a fucking men's bathroom, take the weed out, and I hid it in the toilet paper roll. You know me, dog. And I went back out there, and they're barking and shit. Barking all around. I fucking took the fucking bag back, put it in my nutsack, and ran outside. Oh, I was having... Another time I was somewhere smoking a fucking joint. A cop pulled up on me in an airport. I'm outside smoking the fucking joint. And they're like, what do you think you're doing? They pulled me aside. I got pulled over in Detroit one time.
Wait, so what happened when
by the DEA.
Really?
Yeah. Coming from Miami to Detroit. Please.
So when you were smoking, though, because, one of my friends, I know, like, the whole world, has changed with weed. One of my friends is so casual that, like, whenever we're traveling somewhere, he's just, like, smoking on any street without ever looking or anything. I'm like, you don't even think about it at all?
I don't think about it.
Really?
Why
Any
would
street?
This is America.
I know.
Number one, this is America. Number two, if you're a cop and you're really concerned with marijuana,
I'm not concerned with it.
and pulling you over and talking to you, I would not. I don't have the decency to go to a park where kids are playing and spark up. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about go outside right now and spark up a joint. I've had that for 20 years.
You always were like
before the law, before the fucking paper.
What did that cop say to you when he said, what do you think you're doing?
What are you smoking?
And you're like...
And I go, a little weed. I get anxious at airports and blah. And he just said, turn it off and throw it away.
That was it.
That's it. Just be honest with them. Don't show them a fucking weed shirt. Don't tell them about your Fourth Amendment to have liberty. Yeah. Mind your business. Just tell them the truth.
But did you always, like, if someone was like that to me on a plane, I would have anxiety about yelling. I want to yell at them, and I would think about what I wanted to say, but I would never go back at them.
No, I'm an adult. You cannot say that shit to me. There's a way to speak to people. You can't tell somebody to turn the fucking phone off.
You can't fucking do that.
You say, excuse me, sir, I don't think they want you to have the phone on. Then it's my decision after that. I'm still going to turn it on. When I lived in Denver, those Sundays, you could rob a bank.
Yeah.
You could stab somebody.
Have. That's part of it.
I'll never forget when I was in the mall.
Wait a second. I think you did have an issue there.
I had a couple of issues there.
You don't even go to Colorado anymore, right?
Yeah, I go to Denver.
Oh, you do?
I just can't go to Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle and parts of Oregon. Seattle and parts of Idaho, unknown. When I lived in Denver, I still remember when they played against the Cleveland Browns, the drive.
Right.
I was at the mall during the drive. And I'll never forget seeing everybody in the hallways watching TVs that Radio Shack had and stuff. And going, if I was going to rob this place, this is the time we'd do it. Nobody would care.
The funny thing is, I would say something like that. It's a joke. You say something like that, you're casing the place.
Oh, let me explain something to you. The best thing in my future that happened is that they tore that mall down. When I tell you I sank that mall financially, I'm not lying to you. I went in there with 3 credit cards in the summer of '85 and threw the cards away and would still go back in there. And I remember walking in that mall one day and they had a CD player, Radio Shack, without a box, like a
display unit,
display unit. And the guys were all the way in the back talking. And I go, you know what? I could use a CD player in my house. I'll never forget unplugging it and just wrapping it and walking out of the fucking mall. Like still walking 30 yards to the door and then going to my car. I destroyed that mall.
Oh, God.
The first time, then I got a job at Foot Locker.
You got a job
At the mall after I ruined it with credit cards. And the cops came. They go, you fit the description. Somebody in the ice cream court said you used a credit card there. I'm like, you're going to have to prove it. There was no cameras back then. Right. So they kept coming back.
And so you're wearing the referee
the
jersey?
Foot Locker, like an asshole that I was. I applied for the job in June. They called me in August.
Okay.
And then and then the cops came in there like, we want to arrest you. They talked to me like 3 times. And they wanted me to cop to it, and I wouldn't cop to it.
So in 2 months, you destroyed the mall. That's
In 2
it.
months, I destroyed that fucking mall. And then I went back for more. And then I went back. I went to Aspen, then back to Boulder. And then I was taking classes at the University of Colorado. And they would buy anything up on them. It's called the U District. The U District is in Seattle. This was called, I forget what Boulder Hill or what, the Hill. The Hill is 3 blocks, gyms, Mexican restaurants.
Right.
Everything is catered to kids. Pizza place, movie theater, 18 and over bar, that type of shit. But they would buy anything because college kids got broke.
Right.
So you could bring anything. So I had the scam at Sears. The door was right by the music department. Was right by the door. I would park right there and just walk in. And every day I would take the Bruce Springsteen 4-package collection. It was like the hit of this. It was $99, like $89 for a Bruce Springsteen box. He's on the cover with a guitar in his hand. How do I remember? Because Bruce Springsteen put a lot of money in my pocket that year. There were displays of Bruce Springsteen, 5 at a time, and I would pick them up and walk out there. And I would go right to the Hill, get my $200, and then I would go eat like a fucking sandwich or something. It was destruction. But then I was out on bail in the kidnapping case. And I was running out of money. And I go, you know what? I'm going to go back up to the CD store. So I started robbing them every other day. This went on for about a week or 2.
Not many people can just say that sentence. I started robbing them.
Oh, yeah. I would go to the CD store every other day. I didn't want to be a fucking pig. And go every day and rob 'em. Why would I
Regulate
do
yourself.
That? I had to go like every 2 or 3 days.
Monday, Wednesday,
Then there was a
Friday.
student center. I was tormenting them. Because they would buy books secondhand, and I would just pick up a stack of books. I wouldn't even walk in the front door. I just bring them up, and I go, my mother got me these, but I already got them. She just wasn't thinking. And they go, do you want cash or a check? You know what? I don't need the cash, but I'll take it. And they would give me back the money for the books plus tax.
What's it like to not have a conscience?
It's tremendous.
That's the greatest life. Your life is incredible until you get caught. But then you have the stories.
What is it that you want me to do to change that? Like, that's why it pisses me off that people go after governors for putting blackface on, or the chief fucking judge because he covered some chick's mouth in 1982. You got nowhere to go. So if he would have came out and said, yeah, in 1982 I choked the girl at a party, he would have had to deal with that.
I don't know if it works in politics the same way.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Because it works in life that way. If you don't say it, if I get it out first, you got nowhere to go.
That helps. That can help.
You got nowhere to go. 8 Mile. When he goes, what are you gonna do when he goose on you about the girl? He goes, if you put it out there first, he's got nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah, because it diffuses the situation. Trump does that a lot. You watch Trump; he'll be like, "I did this," and he'll put a little spin on it to make it his way. It happened. There was a lot. It was not my problem. And then people are like, "Yeah, he did it. So what?
It's not who I am today, But thinking back at who that person was that would be out on bail for kidnapping and would go every other day to either the student center. Like one day I went to the student center and had a watch rack with watches, Timex, whatever the fuck. I picked up the whole thing and put it on my shoulder like a body in Vietnam, and I just walked out. If you're going to let me rob and you're not going to pay attention to me, I got to rob you in those days. I was that nuts in Boulder.
Yeah, that's crazy,
And
but
then-
you're getting away with it, so why would you stop?
Getting away, I would control myself.
Yeah,
That-
sounds
Well,
like it. That's
then-
not controlling
then
yourself.
one
What do
day-
you think controlling yourself is?
Dog, I would rob 24/7 if you. I remember when double espresso machines came out in '95. I was a struggling comic.
I don't even hold on. Let me
95.
digest this. Because you're going into stories about stealing 24/7, and then I remember when double espressos came
Yeah,
out.
because I had control before I got arrested. And went to prison. I had no control. Like that's when I got caught. So I'm out on bail for the kidnapping. I get caught with like 85 fucking CDs, and they chase me like a little black guy in a golf cart and a little white skinny guy. Like, come back, and I'm running, throwing CDs back at me, shit, trying to throw them off.
Like
with the
you're a
CD.
superhero?
Oh my god! And they got me. The cops finally got me, and I gave them a fake name. They arrested me, and I processed. Now I had just been in there for a month waiting to get bail. Every cop knew Joey. I went in there as Jimmy. And they're fingerprinting me, and I'm like, "How you doing?" They're like, "Joey, how you?" And I'm looking at the fingerprint card. It's like Jimmy, whatever. And I'm like, "These guys, if you're gonna be that stupid," and then I went back to court as that guy. I pled guilty, and I got community service, and I did the community service. Years later, I found out. Boulder found out you used a different name. But what are they gonna do? You did the community service. You paid the fine. Crazy shit. That you wouldn't even, now you can't get away with that.
I was going to say, now there's no way.
Cannot get away
because
with
that's
that.
all electronic and stuff
now
like
you
that.
can't get away with that.
But that's, yeah, I mean, you make me want to go back in time and start robbing people.
And then in those days, remember when Frank Caliendo put his fingerprints down? NCIS was so slow.
Right.
3 weeks before your records came back. So you could sit in county for 2 weeks with a murder, knowing, working your bail, and get out before the NCIS come out back on you.
Yeah.
The NCIS wouldn't come back on you for fucking 3 fucking weeks. That's how slow it was then. So I could use fake names. I could do all this shit because by the time they figured out who the fuck I really was, I was gone. I was on a Greyhound bus to the next city.
So what did you do with the espresso machines?
Well, the espresso machines I had control. The espresso machines were $450.
You keep saying you have control. I mean, is this you telling us, or are you trying to convince yourself?
Me, I don't give a fuck. It was 25 years ago.
Yeah, well, right. No, yeah.
It was 25 years
So-
ago. I was 95.
I
was a
forgot the
starving
double
comic.
espresso machines are how this story started.
It was $450 for an espresso, coffee, cappuccino machine. All these assholes on sale for $350. I'm walking into those stores, just picking up the thing. I wasn't even walking out of the store, frankly. How sad is that? I would just go into customer service and go, "How you doing? My mother got me this for Christmas." What the fuck? And they go, "Okay."
It's always somebody giving you something
That's
as a
the only
gift.
way you could sell it.
That's how you do
What do
it.
you think? I was walking down the street.
I don't have a gift receipt, but
Then I got
you know.
to the point where I'd hang out in front of Kmart. This is when you're a fucking real piece of shit. I'd hang out in front of Kmart on windy days and wait for people's receipts to fly off. And one day I'm looking at this guy in a cart pushing 2x4s and 2x6s and 2x12s, but on top he's got a lawnmower. And he's pushing, it's windy out, and all of a sudden the receipt flew out. I go over, I pick it up, I look, the lawnmower is $450. So I walk into the fucking Kmart. They got no more lawnmowers. I go, fuck it. I went out to Longmont, Colorado, 30 miles away. Went to a Kmart in there. They had the thing. The best was, I went back and I gave the Mexican kid a 10. Bring this up to the counter for me. He brought it up to the counter, and I told the lady, "How you doing? My mother gave me this. It's the
you have a
wrong
great
one."
mom.
This time I had a receipt. This time they had nowhere to go. He just, no, I'm telling you, I bought the, "Why didn't you go back to Boulder?" I go, "I didn't want to drive. I live here."
I left this here.
And they give me the money back.
I can't.
It's, and I was doing 3 or 4 of those espresso machines a day. Like on the way to Denver Comedy Works.
You needed the espresso
I would stop
to stay.
I would stop in Westminster. I'd stop in the Denver Mall. I would show up at the Comedy Works with $1,200 in my pocket. We all bomb in life every day because bombing basically is 70% mental. Bombing is 70 to 80% mental, and I just learned this 5 years ago. How long have I been back at the store? I
think it's been like 4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5 years I've learned this. So this didn't come to me at the 20-year mark. Bombing is like anything else in your life that you go wrong. You lost in your mind before you showed up. And how do I know? Because I was the king of bombing.
Bombing.
You asked an interesting question before. One of the time I had met. Okay, so Joe's at the store, and one day during crossing, he said something to me, and I said something back, and we shook hands, and I knew him as Joe, and he would call me Joey. And then one day, we were both on the 405. How weird is that? There used to be a club in Orange County that on Wednesday nights it would get 400 people. It was a dinner theater. When I first got here, and they pay you $200 on a third, but it was rough. It was white people in Orange County with white hair.
Still rough.
Still rough, and it was a dinner theater, so they went in there to get salmon and mashed potatoes or whatever the fuck it was, and you had to go up there, and they only liked the headliner, the MC, and the feature always bombed. And I'll never forget being in bumper-to-bumper traffic and looking over to my left, and it was Joe Rogan. He had a Supra at the time. And he opened up his window, and he goes, "Where you headed?" And I go, "I'm going to Orange County to do a fucking gig, whatever, someplace." And he goes, "You're not going to be at the store tonight?" And I go, "Nah." And he goes, "You work in other places?" I go, "Yeah." And he was like, "Wow." Like, he didn't really understand. And then one night I'm at the store on a Friday night, and I'm bombing. I'm dying a slow death. At that time, I was going through a control issue. I want to learn how to control the audience. This is all that stupid white shit you bump into out here in your mind. It's just stand up. Just shut your fucking mouth.
Right.
Don't think. Just shut your mouth. This was the time in my life when I got into, you have to take long pauses to control them. And I went up there on a Friday night at the store, dog, and I bombed from the beginning. It was just a long bomb. And I'll never forget at the 11-minute mark, I said to myself, this is killing me. And Joe Rogan yelled, "You're killing me." And I knew it was his voice distinctly. And I didn't know how to react to it. Like, when I get off stage, do I say something to this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And I go, you know what? He ain't lying. He ain't lying. I'm dying up here. This is a nightmare. And I walked off, and I saw him a week later, and I went up to him, and I go, "Hey, man, that night you said that. You're right." You know, I was like, he goes, "Bro, that was brutal." Or something. And after that, I said to him, "What show are you on?" And he told me. And he was like so courteous. He goes, "If you want, come watch a taping." And I was like, "Really?" In those days, I used to go to, our hobbies were to go to Politically Incorrect when it taped on Wilshire. Me, Stanhope, Mitch Hedberg, we'd all go down there.
Oh,
there was
wow.
a bunch of us. In those days, they used to tape Politically Incorrect at like 2:30 in the afternoon. So if you weren't doing anything, KP Anderson was the warm-up. So you could call KP and go,
"Wow,
KP, I'm coming down, put me on a list." And you go into the audience, and then they would send you around a sheet of paper, comics, or people you wanted to see on Politically Incorrect. And we knew that Bill Maher hated Stanhope.
Oh, why?
So we would all put Stanhope on there and send it in and shit. This was just something you did to learn. Like, this is how cool it was then.
Yeah.
Like, you want to go see a show taping to learn. Like, you have to go to a show taping. And I went to news radio, and the first time I sat in the audience. And Joe came over like a gentleman, and he says, "Is everything okay?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "If Captain Creepy bothers you, let me know." Captain Creepy was the fucking warm-up guy. And in Joe's mind, Joe didn't smoke pot then, but in Joe's mind, the guy was a rapist. So Joe would actually fucking say it. Like, when I first met Joe, he did not smoke pot.
I remember.
He was by the book.
He was anti-pot, right?
He was anti-pot, and he was by the fucking book. And I'll never forget him coming up to me, and he had no manners. Like, he was very fucking, like, he would tell you.
Blunt. He's Boston, right?
Very, very blunt. And I'll never forget that he came up and he goes, "Are you having a good time?" "Yeah." And I went to one of the show tapings, but he came up and he goes, the guy was with Diaz. And he goes, "Don't let Captain Creepy fuck with you." And then that night I go, "What do you call him, Captain Creepy?" And he goes, "That guy's definitely date rape people." And if you looked at this guy, he looked like a date raper. Like, you didn't want to judge, but when you looked at the guy, you're like, this guy raped somebody. He was so creepy. Like, this guy was a professional warm-up guy that was just, like, out there. Like, you knew, and he would flirt with women, and he would try to get them up, like, and he would disappear with some of them. So they were, and you had Andy Dick on the set.
Oh my God.
So Andy Dick would come up to you and talk to you. So then I became friends with him, and he would invite me to the show, and they would put me on the floor. And I'll never forget that they had a thing for people, and then they had a box for NBC, and they had shrimp cocktails, prawns, the size of my fucking gorilla hand.
I love those.
On the side of a thing, like 200 shrimp. And I walked in there, and I just started eating shrimp. And finally, somebody went up to Joe and said, "Who's that scary guy in the NBC room eating shrimp?" And Joe came over and they're like, "Oh my God, you're scaring everybody here with your leather jacket," because I had this big gorilla leather jacket on. But that's how we became friends from that.
That's awesome.
From that thing. And then I was working in Miami. And
How'd you do in Miami?
At that time, I used to do great. And he called me. And he goes, "Where are you?" And I go, "I'm in Miami." He goes, "Fuck, I'll be there next week." And I go, "I could stay." And I stayed, and Chris McGuire opened for him at the time. I just exchanged calls with Chris the other day.
Chris is wonderful.
Chris is wonderful. And I stayed and MC'd for him. And that's how I got to meet him more and more and more. And then over the years, at the store, you just built these store bonds that you see, the bond of a comic when we really love each other is just one of the strong, it's a gang. Like, I got into this to be in a gang. And I've never wanted to be in a gang in my life. I got into this to be in a gang. I was very disappointed when the Joe Rogan thing went down at the Comedy Store and the people didn't back him. That's when I started losing faith in comics. I didn't like that. That turned me off about comics. I don't feel that way anymore. It's a long time ago. But I didn't like that situation because it felt like comics were for themselves.
Someone made the wrong call on that one.
Right. That was
a bad move.
We get a lot of bad moves. And, I'm happy that he's back there. I'm back there.
Oh, it's changed the place.
I didn't get thrown out. I walked out of there on my own accord. I just knew that the government was changing. I knew that I had already... I had been there for 6 years. No, 97. It was 2007. I'd been there for 10 years. If this was Michigan, I would be out. If this was Illinois, I would be out. If this was Boston, the club owner would go, "Joey, you got to do something. You're featuring, there's nowhere to go. How much farther can you go?" So I left the store before Joe got thrown out. I saw the writing on the wall. I saw the dickhead coming in with his new attitude and his new regime, and I was hearing little things. And I said, "You know what? I'm the type of guy that I'll end up getting into a fight down there and hitting him on the head or something, and I'll end up going to jail. I'm just going to stop going down there."
It was a dark time. I'm very thankful for it there, but it was a dark time. And I'm glad that Joe went back. And that has been the resurgence of that place. And now it's just this cooking with gas. Yeah. I look at you and I look at Joe and I look at a lot of people. Sometimes you have to leave the store. You have to leave.
One of the most important things in life is making sure nobody asks you to leave. I don't ever want to be in a situation. Since I was a kid, I always knew when I had to walk out of a room. I always knew when my mother was going to talk business. I always knew when men were talking business. I was never said, "Excuse us." I don't ever want you to tell me, "Excuse me." I should pick it up by the body language and what's going on in the fucking room. And the same applies to life. You have to know when it's time to walk away.
Yep.
And stick to your guns and walk away and take your chances. And go, "That's it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to become a comic. And for a year, I'm going to eat shit. I'm going to drink ramen and live in my car, but this is what's going to happen." I can't. That's the transition between quitting your day job and becoming a comic.
Can you guys explain the no snitching thing? Because I obviously everyone's been told not to tattletale, but then like this thing is happening with this rapper right now with Snoop Dogg like getting mad. Like this rapper had a whole like 40 years of possible prison time, and now he's gonna get probation for ratting, and everyone. To me, if I was gonna go to jail, I'd like it. It'd be like, yeah, maybe I can see where tattling is like, okay, I'm not gonna go to jail now, but is it something different? Like, how can people take it so seriously?
It's a culture thing in the neighborhood. When no snitching is, don't nobody really want to live under that. They think they do, but you actually don't. And those days are over. That's when men were men, though. That's when the streets took care of itself and things would come around. I don't think that there's been a actual no snitching situation. Shoot, man, since before Kobe Bryant. Like Kobe Bryant snitched on Syatt. Al Sharpton was a fed, telling on people. It's out, man. All sorts of. I think everybody snitched nowadays.
Whitey Bulger was a snitch, right?
Whitey Bulger was a huge snitch. Like, was a huge snitch for years. Like, for the feds. So, man, I don't. That's something. I don't know, man.
Here's what my take on it is. I got two takes on this. I was raised in a house that you weren't allowed to say nothing. My mother exposed me to everything at an early age. I knew what my mother did. I knew what the numbers were. I knew what drugs were. I was exposed at an early age. Like my first raid, I was 5 when they raided my mother's house on 89th Street. So at that age, my mother would already tell me in Spanish, cállate la boca, no digas nada.
Shut your mouth.
No digas nada. Shut your mouth. So as I remember still being like 8 and being on 205 West 88th Street, and a beat cop came up to me and told me to scrub something off the floor. And I told him, why would I scrub it off if I didn't do it? We got into like a very mild conversation. And my stepfather had already married my mother. And he would talk to me. And I remember him walking towards me. And he looked at me in Spanish. He said, no diga nada tipo. Don't say nothing to him. So I was always raised to keep my fucking mouth shut. I came from a neighborhood where I played at my godmother's house, you couldn't be a snitch. And then when I moved to Jersey, you couldn't be a snitch. When you get arrested, the first thing you do is to keep your mouth shut. Right. You don't know nothing. Now, I was in a situation where I was facing jail time. They came to me and asked me to make buys or whatever. Listen, I'd rather fucking stab myself in my heart. I could never, ever, ever do that. Now, there's something else. If you're asking me about snitching, right. I'm not a snitch. I don't know nothing. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. If you're involved, you do your time and you keep your mouth shut. It's not what people think. It's what you know. Character is what fucking, don't let my character ruin my destiny. And character is what you do when nobody else is around. Right. That's why you don't snitch. Now, if I'm a big volume drug dealer, if I make $500,000 a year on coke, $500,000 a year on gambling, $500,000 a year on hot stuff, $500,000 a year on construction, everybody is always trying to shoot you down. So, number one, for you to get ahead and to get up in that level, you have some dirty cops. I was a punk drug dealer, and I had dirty cops. I had a cop that would give me all the guns he confiscated for coke. So any hot gun, I'd tell him, any hot gun, get 200 cash. I was just shipping them back east. I remember still this guy coming to my house at 2 a.m. on duty with his jaw going from side to side, and his eyes spinning in his head, and asking me for a gram of coke. Now, when you're in that position there, when you're in the $1 million game, okay, there's going to be times like Michael Dowd. Like Michael Dowd told me a story one time. I told him I was going to go on Bo Dietl's podcast, which I still owe an appearance on. And he goes, don't say nothing to Bo that you know me, because one time Bo and his crew were about to arrest somebody. And we saw the paperwork, and we went over there and robbed the guy's drugs. Uh-huh. So when Bo got over there with the rest of the cops, all the drugs were gone. And Bo knew it was us. Okay, when you're making $500,000 a year from drugs, the last thing you need is Ali Sadiq setting shop over there at that funeral parlor. Especially if I'm right here. I need Ali to get with his fucking friends, jumping up and down with rap music and fucking cars at night, and we're trying to sell $1 million here. I got a cop in my pocket. I'll tell him to go over and talk to Ali. Go bust Ali, shut him down over there because he's making a racket towards my business. That's part of business.
Okay.
That's not called a rat.
That's not snitching.
That's part of business. That's part of business. Ali's got a sister. And I went to a club one night and I called her a fucking cunt or whatever. Ali knows me. Ali knows me. We're friends. He knows I'm a drug dealer. He don't want no problems with me, whatever. You know what? He might just, by mistake, put an ounce of coke in my car and make me get pulled over.
Okay.
That's not a rat. That's part of doing street. That's street business. That's street business. That's part of
colonial
getting
damage.
That's part of getting mixed up in the fucking game. If you're a drug dealer and you have any clout or a numbers operator or anything, you have a cop on your payroll. You have a couple cops on their payroll, and they have ears, and they'll come to you and say, "Listen, we just busted this dude Ali, and he's down there ratting." Like cops work like that too. So I already know. So I'll call the king of the fucking brothers and go, "Hey, if you got something going on, Ali, disconnect." Because he's in there ratting. Now I just won myself a favor with the brothers.
Right.
Now I just won myself a favor with the brothers because Ali's running with the brothers over on 88th Street. Now I go over there and tell him, "Hey, Ali ratted." How do you know? Because he's in there singing the blues. Who's Copernicus? Me. How do you know who my... I tell you that fucking Ali was ratting on Copernicus. Now they owe me a solid.
Gotcha.
So it's all on the street. It's all about solids.
So is it more of, it's not that you're ratting, it's that you're dealing with the cops?
Yes, it's that you've made them apart. For the last 3 weeks, I've avoided a topic on this show for a reason. This podcast is not a platform to drag a dog in here on you. I never want to drag a dog in here on you, especially on a fucking Monday. But we got to get the elephant out of the fucking room between us. February 22nd, I got up that morning and I went to lift and I played with the baby, and then I took the baby to school, and then I went to lift, and I was going to Las Vegas with Kate, and we got to Burbank, and Kate flew out before me, and as I was sitting down on the fucking plane, I mean, the plane hadn't taken off yet, and people were still boarding. If you ever flown in and out of Burbank, they let you walk in through the back of the plane. So while most fucking momos are walking through the front, I just walk to the back of the plane and take a seat in the back, because when you get to Vegas, you're going to have to wait for luggage anyway, and it's always a fucking long walk, so who gives a fuck where you sit on a Southwest flight? So I sat down, and 2 minutes into that I sit down, the phone rings, and it's my brother Steve Simone, and he goes, "Did you hear the bad news?" And I go, "No," and he goes, "Brody was found this morning, hung himself." Guys, it was like a kick to the stomach on the plane. This couple got, I don't know, if you've ever been on a plane from Burbank to Vegas, they even wrote a movie about it, a TV show last year about Vegas. It's a crazy flight. The reason why it's so crazy is because people are excited. People are excited to go to fucking Vegas, and every time I get on one of those planes, like the one time the cops had to come on the plane and take 10 kids off. There's always drama on those flights. These are all these people that were ready to go, and here I am sitting in the edge seat crying, like bawling, and I'm trying to wipe the tears and make believe like I got something in my eyes, and I had to get up and go and get tissues from the thing, and I sat back down, and when I landed in Vegas, the phone fucking goes off. You had 6 messages, and every message was worse, and this was supposed to be an exciting night for me. I was on fucking the strip in Las Vegas, and in the car, all I'm thinking about is this fucking kid, and he killed himself, and he was just on the show a couple of weeks earlier, and he spoke about getting off the medication, and I didn't know how to feel, and then I got to the hotel, and Kate was crying because Kate was working with me that weekend, so I took Kate, and we ate dinner together, and I hung out with her as much as I could, and I had a job to do. I had a fucking job to do. I felt like shit, but I had a job to do. I don't know if you guys know this. I suffer from ear infections. I have to take a shower with earplugs in because the water gets in my ear, and then when I fly, I get infections and shit, so I gotta put the fucking things in my ear. So Kate left, and the show was going to start at 8. And, when I go to Vegas, it's all about the shower. The shower is always huge in the fucking suite. I love taking a shower because you can sit down and think. and I took a couple hits off the vapor pen. I didn't smoke pot at all that day, by the way. I think I smoked in the morning, but before I took the baby to school, like when I get up in the morning, I always smoke, but I didn't smoke the rest of the day. I didn't even want to leave my hotel room. I felt so bad when I was in Vegas. So I hit the vapor pen. I put the plugs in my ear, and I went in the shower. And while I was in the shower and the water was hitting me and I was sitting there, I thought about Brody's last 10 minutes. Like, what the fuck was he doing? You know, like, what was he thinking? What was he feeling? And all of a sudden, my heart started racing. You know, I broke down a little bit emotionally in the shower. You know, I started seeing him as a kid. You know, I still remember having a conversation with him in Seattle about him moving to New York because obviously he was just distinctively different than everybody else. And New York would really accept him the way they accepted him, Mitch Hedberg, you know. So I had this little breakdown. I got out of the shower. I wiped my face. And, you know, I had a job to do, guys. I had a fucking job to do. So I put it in the back burner like I usually do with everything when it comes to that type of stuff, emotions. And I, you know, did the show, and we tried to keep it together. We ate afterwards, her, myself, Brent, my instructor over at Subconscious. We ate some late night dinner. We hung out till 2. So I did what I did as a child when my mother died. I kept people around so the pain wouldn't be around. And I waited till I got nice and tired, and I asked them to leave, and then I went to sleep. And then the next morning I had to get up and get on the plane and rush. And so the whole time I was avoiding the pain. I was avoiding dealing with Brody's death. We went to Tucson, and my buddy showed up, Kent Vela, and the show was great, and the people were great, and the fucking food was great, and the tacos were great. So it wasn't until the next day, that Sunday, when I got off the plane, when I was fronted with it, and I spoke to Josh Wolf, and Josh Wolf was very close to Brody. I mean, it was Josh Wolf who introduced me to Brody, and I could hear it in his voice that it was a toll on him. Now, I could have gone on Twitter. You know, Twitter was fucking filled with Brody stuff. You couldn't even open it up. I tried opening it up that Saturday on my phone, because when I'm on the road, I don't take the computer I have, the iPad doesn't have Facebook on it or Twitter. I only have Twitter on my phone. I don't have no apps on my iPad, only writing and like HBO Go, Netflix, shit like that. And I have a writing app. That's all I want to do on the road. So when I did open up Twitter, I saw everybody was on there, and I live my life to fucking be different. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to be like everybody fucking else. You know what I'm saying? And I strive to do this every day. You know, I was telling Lee that when I went to my mother's funeral, I learned the people who cried the loudest didn't talk to me after my mother died. The people who didn't say shit were the people who came through after my mother died. So I learned who was bullshit and who was not. That's not a reason why I didn't tweet, because I didn't want to go there. You know, I just didn't want to go there. I got a couple emails from people and a couple tweets, you know, on my DM, and people going, you know, you haven't written nothing about Brody. What does that matter? What is that? What? Because I didn't write nothing doesn't mean I didn't love the kid. What have we fucking become? What have we fucking become? That if we don't have to, you know, show our solidarity, we don't care about this kid. I just didn't want to deal with it, guys. I didn't want to deal with that in that level. I didn't even want to mention it on the podcast. I didn't want it in my Twitter feed. I didn't want it in my Facebook feed. I wanted to feel it in my heart. I didn't want to write anything down that I would regret later. That was number one. Number one, if you know anything about fucking death, especially the way it happened here. Listen, when Chris Cornell died, it bothered me. When people commit suicide, yes, if you have any empathy at all, it bothers me. This was my backyard. This was a friend of mine who sat across from me in his chair a month earlier and told us, as the church family, us, that he was fine and alive and kicking, and he was off the medication and blah, 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 blah. But that's not the point here. The point here that there's different phases of grieving. There's the sad phase, then you get angry, and then you fucking get sad, and then you get frustrated. You know, all I kept thinking about was Brody's last 10 minutes. And until I figured out what he went through, what he felt like, those last 10 minutes, which I never know, and I'll never want to know. I'll never want to know what those last 10 minutes of your life feel like. When you're getting ready to do something like that, and your mind takes over everything and lies to you. Because as you could see, and as I know for a fucking fact now, there are people still walking around shell-shocked. Now, tonight, I have to do something that I fucking hate doing. I have to go to the Comedy Store and get up in front of people and give some fucking speech about, you know, a story about Brody. Listen, man, this is so much in my backyard, and you guys know me, that when it comes to Brody right now, I don't have no fucking stories. Like, all I am is in search of why this kid would do this when they fucking loved him down there. They loved him at that Comedy Store. They loved him. He was part of the store. He was who, I mean, Mitzi made him. You know, Mitzi fucking put him on. He was one of those guys that, like Don Barris, you're a part of the fucking store. You will be a part forever. But again, nobody really knows nothing until you lose something. You know, tonight I got to go down there and I got to talk him and I don't even know what the fuck to say. Like, I don't know what the fuck to say. I haven't processed his death yet. This is my weakness in life. You want to know what my weakness is? Death. Because every time somebody dies I'm close to, I drag the other 15 people that died through it. So right now, all I have in my mind is Darren Rago. I have my mother. I have Anthony Balzano on my mind. I have Dominic Speciale on my mind. I have all those shitty wakes I went to and couldn't figure out why this person is in a fucking casket. That's what I drag with me. I couldn't figure out at that early age in the 8th grade why this fucking 13-year-old kid that never did nothing to nobody was in a fucking casket. Then a year later, I had to look at my mother and think about why God would take away somebody's mother. Then a year later, I had to look at that same fucking casket again with my buddy Dominic Speciale in it. And that did something to me. That did something to me before the age of 18. It's like going to Vietnam and seeing somebody in your platoon dying. I mean, I didn't see Anthony get hit by a car. I wasn't there when Dominic drowned. You know, I was there to find my mother, but that's what happens. I drag all that shit. So for a few days, like right now, I can feel my blood pressure going up just talking about it. Because I drag all that shit. I drag Darren Rago in there. I drag this girl in high school that I just thought about today, that she was good friends with a friend of mine and shared a lock with me. She died my senior year in a car accident. She got trapped in between a fucking tree and a park. Who the fuck knows? But I think about all these people. That's why every Monday today, I fucking go to my, you know, when I wake up in the morning on Mondays, like I did this morning, I'll go to the altar, my spirit altar, and I change the water, and I'll light a candle to give all those spirits light, just to let them know I'm thinking about it. And now Brody, you know, we lost Marilyn Martinez. We lost Marilyn Martinez's husband. We lost Freddie Soto since I've been at the Comedy Store. It's a part of life, but this one hits a lot more. This one hurts and stings a lot more. Because it's the first time a friend of mine that close has taken his fucking life. And I've had other friends who have tried to take their life, but no. This one, it hurts. It bothers me. Like I said, I wanted to not put this on the podcast, but since we're doing the memorial today, I mean, they're closing the Comedy Store. They're going full boat tonight. I you know, for days I thought about fucking mysteriously getting sick today because I didn't want to go down there and talk, but I have to. I'm at an age now that I have to stop thinking this way. I have to go down there. Like, I didn't go to Mitzi's. I didn't go to Ralphie's. You know, when my buddy Jimmy Burkle died, I didn't go to his. There were reasons behind it. I could have gotten on a plane and gone to Burkle's and gone up there and talked. And I just don't like dealing with that type of shit. I still have Burkle's number in my phone. I still have Ralphie's number in my phone. I still have Brody's number in my phone. I don't like dealing. When was the last time somebody drank your juice?
It's been a minute. It's been.
You got to get back on the fucking horse.
I really do need to.
You need to drink their juice, and I need to drink your juice.
I'm afraid. I'm
My
afraid.
cheeks hurt.
What are you afraid of?
I don't know. I've gotten to a place where I I feel a little afraid of dating now because I haven't dated since November. And everything has been pretty calm. I mean, until a couple weeks ago.
You've been on some dates. You just haven't
I've been on a couple dates. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well,
you've been on dates.
I'll go on one or two, and then this is
Do
real.
you show them your titty, anything? On the first date, second date?
I don't just show
You
it.
either go for fucking the home run or nothing.
Honestly, my thing is they can touch whatever, but once I'm naked, I'm going to fuck them. You can't get naked and not have sex.
How bullshit. Do you ever date somebody in the first date, they play games with you?
What do you mean?
I'm sucking your dick, but I won't fuck you. Listen.
I won't do that. See, I won't do that.
I got an episode of Law and Order coming out in 35 minutes. Either you suck this mule or you can vamos.
I had a girl come over, took her shirt off, stayed the night, sucked it, but wouldn't take her. She slept in her jeans.
What? Was she on her period?
I don't know.
Did you ask?
No.
Did you touch?
I over the jeans, but yeah, she wouldn't take her jeans
She had a
off.
big
Why didn't you
black
take 'em
fucking
off?
Cock. What would you do if she had a big black cock?
Joey.
After she sucked your cock? What would you do?
It'd be surprising since she was
It'd
white
be
with red hair, but
surprising. You'd be spitting up a storm for a week. You understand?
No way. Wait, but did you ask her to take her pants off
yeah,
or try?
she said she wasn't comfortable yet, but she came over at midnight
And she
for
took
the
her
first date. So
Oh, she came at midnight for the first date?
yeah,
See, I've never done that
Bro, this
shit.
fucking guy meets chicks on Tinder and they turn him down. One wanted to take it slow. When he called me next day, he goes, "You met her on Tinder, but she wanted to take it slow."
yeah, they all say that. They're all liars.
That's right.
Sometimes they mean it.
No, they don't.
I mean it when I say
No,
it.
you don't. I
No,
saw
no,
you
you
on
don't.
Tinder.
What? I'm on Tinder.
I did. I
I'm
saw
back
you.
on Tinder.
No, you don't.
But I don't fuck. I don't like just have sex. Here's the problem. I'm like really sexual, but I'm really picky. So I don't get naked with them till I'm sure that I want to like date them. But once I'm naked, we're fucking. There's no in between
there.
for me.
You
There's
might
no
as well.
like.
You're
There's no
there.
stop at third base.
Yeah,
it's a home run.
Why fucking why blue ball me to death? You already took your clothes off.
Yeah, but lately it's happened twice that I've met great guys, and like when they're into me, I panic, and I like run away because I'm afraid that I'm gonna fuck up their life somehow. That's really true. Like I'm afraid
Well,
that
you probably will if you're that afraid. But what are you really afraid of? That you might cheat on them? That you might?
no, I've never
something-
cheated.
Something awkward? I mean, what are you really afraid of?
I think what it really is, honestly, is that I broke my ex-husband's heart so bad that I think I'm just scared of doing that to someone else.
But listen, how many times have these idiots broke your fucking heart?
So many times. And
All right, then.
But I
Then
think
get on
that
the horse
I
again.
think
Who
that's
gives
the
a
whole
shit?
reason. Like you were giving me shit
that's
about the guys that I pick, and you're right. But I think the reason is like on some level, I think it's because I know if anyone gets hurt, it'll be me, which is stupid. I'm trying to fix it. But that's why I haven't dated since November, and since the last thing was kind of traumatic, and I just haven't really got back out there. I've been
I
on
dated
like 3
two
dates.
girls in my life. I've dated two girls who were promiscuous. And I'm going to tell you how I feel about it because I've never talked about this before on a podcast because it bothers me how I feel about this. I was raised Catholic, and I was raised in a very special place. You know, I know girls who have been with two guys because I know them since they were 10. I know a girl that's been with the same guy from fucking high school.
Yeah, me too.
But most of the girls that I grew up with are with two-guy girls.
Yeah.
They fucked the guy in high school. He took their virginity. They left him when they threw the football at him. And then they hooked up with another guy, and now they've been married for 28 fucking years.
Well, that's how I was. I was a virgin
So
when I got married.
never understood. I didn't really know the game until I met a stripper, and I started dating the stripper.
Yeah.
Who was just very, very, I love her dearly, we're still friends,
Yeah.
but she's very bad news. And I would look at her naked, and I remember there were some nights that I would feel bad for her because I didn't understand if she knew how beautiful she was and how special her body
I'm sure she
was.
didn't.
When a girl comes to me and says, "Can I talk to you about something? I had sex with the guy at work." We giggle, we have a laugh, but inside my heart breaks. Because somewhere there's a guy that got the best out of you. Yeah, but I masturbated in front of him and he ate my... That's all great. But somewhere there's a guy with a story. Somewhere
That's
there's
why
a
I don't
guy
ever. I totally agree with
with
you.
a story.
That's why I'm always
Nothing-
afraid to.
I've always wanted women to have a little bit more respect for themselves because somewhere there's a fucking slob like me
You're
with
not.
a story. I could not live with that if I was a woman.
I know what you mean.
I could not live with that.
I know
if
what you
I
mean.
gave this
I mean, I have
beautiful,
obviously left some
this
stories.
beautiful little fucking pussy between my legs that was that good, that made a man feel that good, I'd be so fucking selective. And the main thing would be because I don't want a motherfucker to have a story about me.
Well, I'm that way with like comedy club employees, people. I'm that way on the road. Like, I don't want anybody to have a story. That's why I never go out with like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like, I never really go out with like fans after shows and stuff because I just know I don't want something like that to be left behind. I mean, obviously,
And you will. Listen,
it's
we're
happened.
all natural.
Yeah,
We're
it's
we're
happened.
human.
Yeah.
We make mistakes. I have a dear friend who's solid as a comic, and she told me when she first started, she took a guy home, and she really enjoyed him, and they said friends for her, but it became uncomfortable for her. She couldn't do it anymore. She didn't get into comedy to do that. You know, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I just thought that, you know, I have a daughter now. Nobody loves pussy more than me. I love eating it, putting cocaine on it, eating your ass. You know, just it's. But I've always. One day we were having a joke, and Joe Rogan goes, "Anybody you ever date killed themselves?" And I said it serious. I go, "They should. If you suck my dick, you
Joey,
should fucking kill yourself."
No, stop.
I can't imagine sucking my fat dick and seeing that one ball that's fucking my balls.
Your balls are huge.
My balls are like. What's his name?
Saucers.
They look like, you know, like Marty Feldman eyes.
I know what they look
They
like.
look horrible. I feel bad for, and I'm not saying this as a joke. Like, I feel bad if you got drunk one night and we hooked up. Like today, I think about you and I'm like,
oh,
like,
stop.
What are you
no, you
thinking?
don't.
Yes, I do.
But you were like an animal. It sounds like you were great.
It doesn't matter what I was an animal.
You shouldn't feel
or what
bad.
I was. It's the truth, though. These women are married to a nice guy now. They have kids. And one night when they're holding their kid, they're looking through Netflix, and there's a picture of me talking about stupidity, and they got to go back and go, fuck, I sucked this dick in a bathroom once at a bar.
But you know what? I'll bet they hold that memory in a happy place.
No, they don't. I wouldn't hold that fucking memory in a happy place.
There's no guy I've ever slept with. There's one or two that I regret, but they're ones that I actually dated. But there's never been a guy that I did have that kind of a circumstance with where it was like a fling or like a one-night thing that I regretted because it's happened so rarely that in my mind, they're kind of like a fun, exciting, like, wow, that's rare for me. So it's a cool memory. Even if I threw up on him or something bad happened, it's still in my head like a fun, that story that I have.
I had a friend in Seattle, a comic friend. She doesn't do comedy no more. We were open micers together. I never fooled around with her, nothing. I liked her. She drove to gigs. She was really cool with us.
Yeah.
She always brought weed. And I remember one morning, she went on a Kate rampage. We were talking about something, and she's like, I got to tell you what happened last night. We were on Alki Beach.
Okay.
I'll never forget this. We were on Alki, and there was an Alki breakfast spot where I used to see Eddie Vedder.
Oh, wow.
Eddie Vedder would eat there from time to time. This is 95. This is 20, whatever years ago, 30 years ago. And I'll never forget her telling me the story once. And this is when I wasn't ready for this shit, these kind of stories from women.
Yeah.
And I go, what'd you end up doing the other night? Because we used to go to a bar on Monday nights. There was the Seattle Comedy Underground, and then half of us would go to a bar in the artistic area, and there would be go-go dancers and cages and shit. And she was pretty hot. She was cute. She was hot. She was just young, and I always thought she had it together. Until this one morning that we were talking, and I go to her, what happened to you that night? Like, I hadn't seen her in like 5 days. I go, hey, we were all together. What happened to you? You left us there. And she's like, I got to tell you what happened. Oh, my God. And she went into this whole thing, how the bartender reminded her of her boyfriend in high school, and she couldn't forget about her boyfriend. And so she waited for the guy, and she asked him for his number. And then she went home, and she waited an hour and called him at 3 a.m. Went over there, and she brought a dildo and all this shit. And I'm like,
she told you all
like,
this.
she's telling me this, and my head's about to blow up.
She was like me 3 years ago.
And she goes, she brought a dildo, and the guy put the dildo in her ass, and I'm sitting there with my other buddy, and I'm just like, my other buddy's digging it, and I'm laughing along with it, but at the same time,
on the inside, you're like, oh,
this little girl doesn't know she's at 12.
Aw.
This girl doesn't know that she could move to LA right now and get on a cover of any major magazine. And listen to me, you're not going to believe the story. We sat there long enough, like we were there for like And I go, where'd this guy live? And she goes, it's so funny. The reason why I'm telling you the story is because he lived a couple blocks from here. And 5 minutes later, the guy walked by with a girl holding a hand, walking his dog.
Oh.
And he was really skinny. And he was, let me tell you something, I'm no fucking Omar, the fucking model. But this guy was not a good-looking guy by no means. He was skinny. He had dirty jeans on. And I'll never forget the look on her face. And I'll never
She was embarrassed.
I don't know what year it was, and I still remember the story that I'm going to write for my daughter.
That's sad.
Because she just told us about a pretty intense sexual thing that it would have to take me a month of doing coke with you to go into. I mean, he put the dildo in her ass and taped her and took pictures of her.
Taped her?
Yeah,
tied her up?
Like taped her.
And filmed her.
Polaroid shots of her.
Oh, wow.
And now there he is walking. And let me tell you something. If you know anything about me, I got this guy's number. This is how crazy I am about that type of topic. I got his number at the bar.
Yeah.
And I would call the bar, like, just to fuck with him.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, yeah. Let's say his name was Ray. I'm going, Ray, I'm looking for you, motherfucker. I'm going to break your head. And I'd hang up on him. And I found out he was a music promoter at other bars. So I got his number for his house.
I love that.
And I would torment him. The girl never knew. Nobody knew. I just knew.
That's
how
amazing.
You want me to tell you how crazy it was? I moved to L.A. and I would still call him in Seattle. Because I never
just to
wanted
fuck with him.
Just to let him know I was watching him. Who the fuck is this? I got a dog. And I would just sit on the phone.
That's amazing.
How crazy I am.
I love guys like that, though.
That's how crazy, because he was such a fucking puke. And this girl didn't know what she was getting herself into. I would have fucked her and came in the mouth and ate her pussy and licked her asshole. That's one thing. He treated her like a fucking dog. Like, I know people who treat their dog. Well, now, shot for me meant your big break.
Right.
You know how many big breaks I thought I was going to get? 30.
30.
You know, I mean, let's take the longest shot, for example. I thought that was going to change my life. Right now that it's been on the air for 13 years, we can get out of the way.
Right.
How can it not change your life? Look at the cast. Look what Adam Sandler damage he was doing in 2005,
right.
2004, 2000. Anything he touched turned to gold.
Right.
While I was shooting the movie, they said it's all over. Like, it's all over. Like, once this movie comes out, you write your own ticket.
Here's the fucked up thing. I forgot you was in the movie.
Yeah, you know,
that's the fucked up thing.
The crazy thing is that I remember the movie getting released and just sitting at home and looking at the phone. And nobody called. And then Nick Turturro got a bunch of movies, and Lobo got a bunch of movies, and Tracy Morgan got put in fucking 30 Rock, and Terry Crews, forget what happened with Terry Crews.
That guy.
And there I
forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah, there I was, the fucking ugly chick at the dance.
Did you feel bad that when you saw everybody getting shit?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. How would you feel if you thought this was it, your life was going to change?
Right.
When I say change, did I think I was going to be driving a convertible fucking Maserati with 20 people in the car? No. You know what change was for me? 20 weeks of work.
Right.
200 people coming to my shows, maybe. Getting an agent to book you. Getting a stronger theatrical agent.
Right.
None of that happened.
Did you have an agent at the time when you got it?
Yeah, he was a bum then, and he's a bum now. He's like Tony Montana in Scarface. You know, it was.
It didn't change him that you got that.
It set me fucking. Like, the movie came out in May, and by October, I was a fucking mess.
Damn, son.
Like, the phone hadn't rang. No agents came and spoke to me, you know. But if that was somebody else, I'm not crying.
Right.
If that was somebody else who got it, it would have been all over. It would have been a billboard. It would have been a variety thing. Right. Congratulations to this guy, our client, for doing this, you know. It's just the things that didn't happen. And I'm not crying. I got the experience of my life.
Right.
But when I was doing that movie, a wise man told me, he pulled me aside one day, goes, you're doing great in this, but this has to take time. It's got to take cultures.
Right.
And recently, I saw it. You go on the fucking Rogan podcast. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. They look you up, and now they go, that's the fat dude from the longest yard.
Oh, shit.
Now they research more.
Yeah.
So what I learned was everything comes back in cultures.
Right.
Everything, that Mad TV you did that nobody fucking saw, now one night they air it at 11 o'clock, and there's a million people home because it's a snowstorm, and you're a fucking star.
Right.
So everything takes cultures. Everything comes in cultures. What you did in 2007, if it was good, history's going to come back to repeat itself.
Right.
You know how many times people have called, hit me on Twitter and said, I didn't know you were My Name is Earl. They don't know.
Yeah.
So it comes back. Now they'll go pay the $5.
Right.
Now that's validation. That's my favorite show. Now I got to go see him. All those things. And for me, it was not a movie, right? Like for me, it was not a movie. It was not me killing on the road. People fucking hated me on the road.
Yeah.
It was telling a hooker story, telling a story about me mugging a hooker. So it blew me away.
And you told that on the podcast.
I told it on the podcast.
The only place you could fucking tell
And
it.
next thing you know, there was 100 people at a show down in Hollywood cheering to tell the hooker story.
Damn.
But the one thing I think you guys not are missing, but maybe don't realize how big it is, because I'm almost 2 years in. Like I see people, like a shot for me is you letting me do the Wilbur, is Felipe letting me do a guest spot at Caroline's, like that sort of stuff. That like to me, because like I've seen people who are
And that's not a shot.
No, to me it feels like a shot.
That's just an opportunity for you to look
Learn some
into the
shit.
ocean from the fucking beach and go, oh, that's what the bottom of the ocean
Oh no, but
looks like.
I don't mean I'm gonna get an agent and
No,
blow
no,
up.
no,
I just
no,
mean
no.
like it's
No,
the
no,
next
no.
step. It's like a
No. Right now, you got no shots in your future.
You don't consider that
you
a
got
shot?
in your future is getting on stage right now for the next 2 years until your tongue.
You don't think
turns
there's
red.
levels of shots? No.
There's levels of shots, but for you, a guest spot at Caroline's isn't really going to propel you. It's just to show you what it's going to be like. It's like when Jim Valvano made his players cut the net down before the season began to show them what it was, to show them what to feel like when they cut the net down.
Right.
That's what that's for you for.
That's fueling your engine.
That's fuel in your engine.
Right.
Yeah.
When you go up in front of 1,200 people and you bomb, you're going to go home, and that's fueling your engine. I'll never be mad at you because we all went through that bomb. The first time we got up in a big theater and we throw in, they gave you a guest spot, and you fought, and you're excited, and all of a sudden they didn't laugh at you. Now you're back to square one. So it's really not a shot. These are opportunities for you to peek behind the curtain and go, oh, that's what it's like to go up in front of 1,500 people.
Get some experience
That's what
and
it's like
learn.
to do a Friday night.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. You're at the 2-year mark where all you need to do is get on stage, put your head down.
Oh no, and
Get
I
on
don't expect
stage
anything, but to me that's
and
because
keep going.
I see people at open mics who've been at open mics for 10 years and haven't done a real show.
Because-
so to me that's a show. I mean, maybe in 10 years
Listen,
I'll
you control, in this business, you control what you want to do. And it starts by the word no. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not doing that place no more. I'm going to lose doing 5 spots a week. But the 2 spots that I do are really going to elevate me.
Right.
Those are the things that at your level right now, all you got to worry about is what you're not going to do anymore and how you're going to propel yourself up. But in the meanwhile, all you got to do, look at, Bill Burr taught us a big lesson. Bill Burr got his head knocked off with a TV show that was, the reason why it hurt Bill more than it did was because it had all the makings
Right.
to be the next Seinfeld. It just wasn't a TV show with him and fucking some bum from the store. It had the guy from Office Space, Dharma from Dharma and Greg. It had an all lineup cast that they had
I don't
put
remember
together.
that show.
Yeah.
I just remember he was on it.
So when he went down, if you learn anything from Tom Rhodes, Margaret Cho, Greg Giraldo, Tom Rhodes, Margaret Cho, Bill Burr, and Greg Giraldo, from those 4 people, the biggest lesson I learned was that once your show gets canceled, and while that show's getting taped, keep getting on that fucking horse.
Yeah.
Because that's the key. What you and I have witnessed is motherfuckers that get a TV show and go, shit, I don't need stand-up. Then the show gets canceled after 3 years. And now those guys that they were neck and neck with doing stand-up are now a level on top of them because they quit. And now their shows are failing, and now they got to start all over again. They're going out thinking they're going to get clapped. Oh, you won that show that got canceled, and you got to start all over again. Starting all over again? Those are the motherfuckers I take my props off to. Because most people, after their show fails at CBS, they go away. They become real estate agents.
Hilarious.
They really do. And we've seen it. And I've seen it. I can name 5 guys that came to this town that had more heat than you, me, and Sebastian put together from fucking Montreal, came down here, got a shot at a TV show. The show, the pilot didn't get picked up. Now the agents are a little weary. And then by mistake one night, they happened to walk into the Comedy Store, and they have to follow. I saw a motherfucker that was good looking, looked like Steve Reeves. I forget what his name was. Looked just like Superman, built like Superman. Went up to Montreal in '98, got all this fucking clout, deals.
Was he funny or just good looking?
He was just good looking.
Yeah, and they gave him the.
And they gave him. Yeah. And I'll never forget him walking into the store with 4 Jews, you know, with suits on, you know, and that motherfucker.
That's a lot of Jews.
And I'll never forget that motherfucker had to follow Dice in the main room.
Oh, shit.
And he fell apart hard.
Damn.
I never saw him back at the Comedy Store. In fact, I never saw that motherfucker again.
Did Dice leave with his Jews?
Dice left with the 3 wise men. Only one little assistant Jew left with him. The other 3, you know, I've seen that 1,000 times. I've seen that 1,000 times. And people think they come out here and, you know, hey, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. In 1987, I thought if I got a job bartending, I'd be discovered.
Just bartending?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was mixed drinks, and somebody was in the comment and go, "Oh, you're perfect for Hollywood." I was retarded too. And then I got here, and I realized, you know, in what's the movie that made those 2 guys famous? Not Sleepers, but the ones that they went out and
I know what you're talking about.
Swingers.
Swingers, yeah.
He has a line in there. He goes, "What are you talking about? I got to work hard." I heard they were giving out development deals at the airport at LAX. That's what it was like here in '95. And the networks found out hard that the choices that all these networks put on them, these guys couldn't cover the spread.
Yeah, the networks gave money to the wrong people.
To the wrong people.
And then they
Thousands
started pulling
of dollars.
Yeah, millions, bro.
Millions.
Yeah.
I know people that are on a list. I heard this from a VP once. We were talking. He was telling me that Fox, for example, every year they have a list of like 10 to 20 people that are like past movie stars or like had a show and it failed. They'll give him $250,000 just to lock them in, just in case something happens. They're playing the long game.
Damn.
Just in case somebody picks them up, boom. Just in case somebody has a script, boom, they got him. You know, people who that you've forgotten about.
Right.
Somebody like Gina Davis, for example, who was hot 20 years ago. They'll give Gina Davis $250,000 and hold her for a year. $250,000.
Some just in case shit.
Just in case shit.
Yeah.
Then they'll give a couple blacks deals, couple Latinos deals. So when the fucking black organizations and Latino organizations raise their hand and go, "What about black people? What about Latino? What are you talking about? We gave such and such a developmental deal. He didn't do that with him." Well, such and such has been on stage for a year. He doesn't even know how to wipe. He doesn't even know how to bring somebody up. I still remember.
That's crazy. They're just covering their ass.
Dog, I still remember being at the store on a Sunday night and then bringing a kid in who had destroyed in Montreal. And the kid, you could tell by how he held the microphone that he was a dud. You know how they hold the mic, open mic, just hold the microphone with the wing open? He couldn't even do an intro.
It's like somebody with their first cigarette.
You know at the Comedy Store how you have to bring up the next guy? He didn't even know how to do the intro. When he put the mic back in, he was fumbling. They gave that guy a $500,000 deal.
Oh my God.
But after taxes and everything, it's $340.
Right.
And guess what? That guy goes and buys a car, an apartment. His show don't get picked up. He's a waiter in 6 months. He's a waiter in 6 months. It's not even the shot. It's what you do with it. If you're a fighter and I punch you with the best right hook and you stagger a little bit and I get on top of you and he buckles you and gets out, I didn't do nothing with that right hook.
Yeah, you just need the shot.
That
though,
right hook
you know what
was
I'm
a
saying?
fucking nightmare. You know, when we got here, the shot was this. Ian Edwards had a TV show. He puts you on reoccurring, 6 out of 10 episodes. When the season's over, I go out and sell out fucking all the improv.
Right.
That's what it used to be like. No more. You could do 10 TV shows now. Ain't nobody coming to CIS.
But I think Ian's right. If you have a big Instagram, you can sell out 10 shows at the Improv.
No. I'm not talking about that. That's
Okay.
completely. But if you have an Instagram, okay, and you hit, and one of these greedy agents, these gavones, pick you up, and they book you, and they charge $30 for you, you're gonna get them for the 30 one time. It's like going to see Screech. He's gonna get you for the 30 one time, and then you're gonna go, this is a waste of my time.
Right.
Anybody who knows stand-up, number one, will not fall for that trick.
Right.
Anybody who's in the stand-up game will not fall for
Yeah, the beauty of it now, like there's stand-up nerds.
Right.
They're
That's
so
what
they're
we
so
have.
invested.
They're so
in this,
invested.
and they follow everybody. They treat us like Marvel characters or some shit, or DC versus like they invest just as much time into like where this person from, who they're associated with, what they said, what joke they got. Like they're into it, and that's beautiful.
You know what your show reminded me of? I hope you don't get offended. The Gong Show when I was a kid.
No, yeah, I've gotten that comparison.
Gene the Dancing Machine. Nothing made me happier as a kid than watching Gene the Dancing Machine. I would cry right now. I would cry like if when Gene died from diabetes, the black dude, it broke my heart. Gene the Dancing Machine was a fat black dude. All right, and Barris would be out there hosting, and all of a sudden out of nowhere he'd go, you hear da 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 da, and he goes, it's time for Gene the Dancing Machine, and Gene the Dancing Machine, he weighed like 300 pounds, black dude right out of the ghetto, been cooking pork chops all his life, but he don't give a fuck. They're letting him loose. He's got a minute of fame, and him and Don Barris, he's da 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 da, and Gene would be fucking dancing, and then they'd have to cut like. They would tell whatever his name was, the host, Barrett, whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying it right. Like, listen, we're going to cut. He wouldn't give a fuck. He'd just keep playing the music. And you see NBC trying to hold on like we can't. We got to throw a sponsor in, but this is so good. They would have the whole audience in a fucking... If you ever get a chance, look up Gene the Dancing Machine on the Gong Show. You will fucking die. Just they would go off. TV would go off. So that's why I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, it's time. After I saw that audience in Manchester, I go, it's time for this to go somewhere. This needs a fucking home.
Yeah, well, I mean...
But they can't touch it.
Right.
See, that's the problem. When you get some college kid to come in and go, well, right now it's 17% is 17 to 32-year-olds, so you got to put Oasis on here or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. That's when you ruin the show. Yeah. If they let you just do it, like just listen, come in, we don't care if you light this place on fire every week. That's what we want. Television needs to be lit on fire again. I'm not being disrespectful. Late night is horrible.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's unbearable.
Yeah.
At late night television, and guys, I've tried, and I know you're critical of me for saying it is horrible. Yeah. I love the one guy, because I knew him when he was playing the guitar and at the Improv. Him and his manager were nice people. Jimmy
Fallon.
Yeah. I can watch it if it's a good guest, if it's Whitney, something like that. But it's not like, I don't know who, for years I've been sitting there going, who the fuck watches late night TV?
Right.
Who would stay up to watch Jimmy Kimmel? That's a sleeping pill.
I mean, it used to be.
I'd rather take a fucking Xanax.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The English guy, all of them.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a fucking Xanax.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Kimmel
had us in the beginning, like, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years ago. He hit Ohio hard because we're like, what? The Man Show guy got wow, this is cool. This is like a corporate chance. He was like the underdog. And now you see how he just phones it in, sheds those tears, gets emotional on purpose. He's one of those guys that can make himself cry.
I've told people for years that I would love, in part, to go on the road once a month and do this show 5 days a week. What scares me is the consistency. Late night TV is 4 fucking nights a week. 4 nights a week, I have to be funny to the American audience. That's very tough, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck. I know you want to do it on your own, but good luck. 4 nights a week, you need some writers. You need 2 of your best friends to take a job and throw material at you and ideas. They got to be watching the internet, you know, and just it's tough to be consistent. So I do give them that. Yeah. Nobody can be funny 4 nights a week, 52 fucking weeks a year. It's impossible. Not every show's going to be great.
Oh, they have writers. These writers' rooms are filled with people. They have, I think Kimmel has like 12, 14, 16 writers in different rooms. They don't even communicate. You know what I mean? They're all separate, and they have to send in these files and jokes as the day goes on. Like, it's like...
You still got a lot of calls to write?
Well, not anymore, because they all know I'm not doing it. You know,
don't want to do it.
But back in the day, yeah. I mean, I was very lucky. You know, I left a little bit of an imprint and got some really great jobs. Now I don't do anything. I just I write for the Comedy Central roast once a year. Even that job, literally, they know that I get burnt out and that I'm having too much fun. So they'll just have me come in the last 2 weeks, clean everything up, get a fresh set of eyes on everything, and if anybody gets added last minute, which always happens, usually the most interesting people, your Dennis Rodmans and your whatevers, you know what I mean, Martha Stewart, I'll come in and really, you know, open up the playbook and write something in their voice.
Go to Sal and Chris's in Astoria. You'll know when you fucking walk in from the smell. It's been there forever. The fucking, I mean, it's like $8 for a fucking brick. A brick, like a fucking sandwich with the bread, the meat, everything's fresh.
You buy a jar of pepperoncinis, a 16-ounce Coke, a bag of Wise potato chips. Who's gonna fucking stop you? And you read the daily news while you're eating it?
Nothing's gonna stop you.
Nothing can stop you. Nothing could stop you.
And that truly is only in New York. That what I just described.
Yes.
And it's only, you know, it's in Queens, but it's fucking well worth it. It's well fucking worth it.
I was in New York City and I walked up to Times Square last week. And they got like a fucking Domino's pizza or something.
I'll never go in.
Doug, are you
Ever.
fucking embarrassed?
Ever.
There's a fucking, what's that? What's the Italian place?
Olive Garden.
There's an Olive Garden like 2 blocks up from Times Square.
It's all there.
Years ago. I would stand out there with a rifle and pick people off as they went in there.
Ever. Why are you going in there? You're in New York.
4 years ago, I'm in Long Island. I'm staying right across the street from the Nassau Coliseum. There's a hotel there. And I'm going downstairs. And then when I go downstairs to smoke a joint, when I get back on the fucking elevator, 2 white kids and their fucking white father, Scotch-eyed father, with a fucking Domino's pizza. I wanted to punch the father.
What are you doing? They don't know better.
And go, you know where you are?
Yeah.
You're in the heart of pizza and you're getting Domino's.
Just go anywhere. It's better than Domino's.
You're personally fucking insulting me.
Yeah.
Like you're personally fucking insulting
You're
me.
in New York. There's pizza. Even the shit pizza's better than Domino's.
I 99-cent slice.
Period.
Better than Domino's. I would go to 99-cent slice before I go to fucking Domino's in New York.
Anywhere.
That's just breach.
Never.
That's breach of treason.
Domino's is for desperation times, desperation hour.
And even then, you eat it and you feel bad.
You feel bad, you regret, but it's desperate. It's like last choice. It's Hail Mary shit.
If you're in fucking Columbus, Ohio or something, and everything is closed at fucking
That's
11,
Domino's.
And you're starving after a show.
And it's quick. The quickest.
Quick. They deliver. You give the guy an extra 10 because you don't give a fuck. You brought it to your room at 1:45.
Right to the room.
That's the one time I ate it. I got a thin cheese, and I ate half of it, and I threw the other half out, and then I went back in the garbage and took it back out.
You got him. You knew you were gonna. You knew you were.
Law and Order was
You
just,
thought it was gonna disappear.
You're fucking starving. Some nights after a show,
You gotta
you're
fucking eat
starving
it
on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
If it's 2 in the afternoon and you ain't high, go fuck yourself. Get out of my face. I want you around me like I want cancer in my ball sack. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna come around here looking at me with your fucking white eyes, thinking that I'm gonna reform. Go fuck yourself. My morning starts at 5:30 a.m. Either you're there or you're square. You know what I'm saying?